Yesterday, I put in this kind of crazy thing where if Giannis forces his way to the Bulls, what would happen? I guess theoretically it could, very long shot, but these are the packages to support that.
This is your home for all things Chicago Bulls. Join the conversation. You're listening to Chicago Bulls Nation.
What's going on, Bulls Nation? So let me make this very clear. I am a Bulls fan, but I'm also not delusional. So if that hypothetical happened, again, this is all for fun and games. If Giannis forces his way to Chicago and you're Milwaukee and you talk to Giannis, you'll be like, all right, we're going to accommodate you to a certain degree. How would it look like? It's kind of like with Dame. Portland was willing to accommodate Dame up until Miami doesn't want to play ball. By that meaning, they're lowballing Portland. So what did Portland do? They sent Dame to a destination he doesn't prefer. Even though Dame arguably is the best player on Portland's franchise. Maybe it's Bill Walton. I don't know if Bill Walton stayed there long enough, but maybe it's Bill Walton. But certainly, I'm sure Dame meant something to Portland. Now, Giannis meant more to Milwaukee, because of bringing the championship and all that. So they're willing to accommodate. But I'm sure Milwaukee's just not going to trade Giannis for Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins, and Nikola Vucevic. You have to include your young players and a bunch of assets, a bunch of picks. Luckily, the Bulls have all of their picks. And so everyone's going to give picks. That's non-negotiable. They would get 4 picks, a bunch of swaps on any team. Let's just get that out of the way. So the difference here is the young talent that the Bucks are going to acquire alongside those picks. And to be quite honest with you, the Bulls have the weakest, as far as actual players that you can trade to Milwaukee. You put something like the Spurs, they have, even their picks is better because their picks is going to come from Atlanta. Now you put Giannis to the Bulls, those picks are pretty much going to be useless. They're going to be in the, maybe 12, 13 in the first few years. And then thereafter, it's, if Giannis remains healthy, assuming he remains healthy, that's going to mean nothing. That's just, it's going to be in the low teens. So as far as packages, the Bulls just really doesn't have it. So how would make this realistic as much as possible is to include Matas Buzelis. As a Bulls fan, I don't want to include him. I like Matas. But if from a realistic point of view, if you're Milwaukee, you would want a Matas. I would want to if I was the GM. Like Kobe and Giddey is nice, but I need Matas. I need him. He's the only price, player in this deal. Not Giddey, not Kobe. It's Matas. So with that being out of the way, he's always going to be in this. I don't want to trade him. Like, I don't want to include him, but I think he needs to be included. With that being said, so this first scenario that I have, so we have 3 core in Kobe, Giddey, and Matas. If you're the Bulls, you want to start off by just giving one. They're not going to just get Kobe, like I said, or Matas. They want Kobe and Matas, or Kobe, Giddey, and Matas. So in this scenario, we have Nikola Vucevic, Kevin Huerter, Kobe White, Matas, and 4 first-round picks, including the 12 that we have this year. And then we got Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's going to suck because now your roster's going to be gutted. You still have enough, to play. You're not going to go far. But I believe in the East, with Giannis on it, the Bulls are still going to be in the same position, even with a gutted roster, as we are last year, if not better. I think Giannis can drag a carcass of Bulls players into maybe the 7th seed. They're going to get bounced in the first round, but I think Giannis himself is enough in the regular season, barring no injury, that he can drag this Bulls into the playoffs. I honestly do believe that. So how it's going to look like is we're going to put up a lineup here. So it is going to be Giannis, Josh Giddey, Zach Collins, Ayo, and Patrick Williams. This, of course, we're going to sign some players here and there, but, who knows, right? Like whatever's left in the cap. So if Giannis signs here, if we trade for Giannis, it is with the understanding that this year is going to be a wash. Just give us one more year, because you got to regroup. You can't. You don't have anyone. So this lineup right here is gross because it doesn't have floor spacing. Nothing. Giddey can barely shoot. Ayo has a decent three-pointer, but not reliable. And then you got Patrick Williams. Unfortunately, you have Patrick Williams. He is going to stay with the Bulls because I don't see the Bucks trading for Patrick Williams. Maybe they will. I hope they would, but I just don't see it at all. I hope they do, but I highly, highly doubt it. Because he's a negative asset at the moment. Maybe he'll turn it around if he's next to Giannis. Who knows, right? But in this scenario, we keep Josh Giddey. But the more realistic scenario, if I was the Bucks, would be like, man, so we only got Matas. Kobe is gonna get paid 30 to 35 million, and the Bucks maybe would be the new Bulls, where they would be in the play-in, and then they're gonna meet Giannis 3-4 times a year, and then Giannis is gonna destroy them, because Giannis is gonna destroy that Bucks, even though he's playing with Patrick Williams. I can almost guarantee you that. So if I was the Bucks, I would ask for the farm. So I'll be like, I wanted Kevin Huerter. I don't want Vooch because he's old. I don't want to re-sign him. I want Kevin Huerter, Kobe White, Matas, Josh Giddey via sign and trade. Now and then only 3 first rounders, because you have Josh Giddey and 2 swaps. I forgot to put swaps on the other. Now this is the farm. This is everything that you have if you're the Bulls. The question is it worth it at this point? Giving all your future, I don't really consider, to be quite honest with you, I don't consider Kobe and Giddey, as a cornerstone of the franchise anyway. I see them more of our, like complementary players. The thing with this, the hard part with the Bulls is that you can't overpay complementary players if you don't have the piece yet. The reason why Jalen Suggs is getting paid 30-something million, even though he's not a cornerstone, is because they have Paulo Banchero, who is the cornerstone. It's easier to pay guys who would surround your guy if you already have that guy. Now, if you don't have the guy yet, you don't want to overpay for somebody like, for example, Drew Holiday. You're not going to pay Drew Holiday $30 million if you don't have, Jason Tatum. Now you won't find a Jason Tatum if you keep on overpaying role players. So in this case, it is what it is. They ask for the farm. You reluctantly give it, but you get a pick back. Now this lineup is really small, so this is going to be your lineup if you give up the farm. You got maybe Lonzo Ball. If he holds up for the season, he's going to be your point guard. Your 2 guard is going to be Ayo. Giannis is going to be your power forward. Patrick Williams is going to be your 3, and Nikola Vucevic is going to be your 5. If everyone holds healthy, right? Like, that's a big if. This has a better floor spacing. Now, I guess you can put Lonzo in the starting lineup in the other scenario anyway. But Nikola, I think, would be a good center right next to Giannis. Giannis could negate his defensive liabilities because he's a rim protector. But Nikola can space the floor for Giannis because he can step out for 3 and all that stuff. And Ayo's pretty good defensively. So was Patrick Williams, Lonzo Ball as well. So this is a good mix of defense and offense. Again, this team, I think, would be 7th seed in the East. Because now you're going to eliminate Boston. You're going to eliminate Milwaukee now. So I think easily they can go 7th seed. Maybe you will contend with the Raptors, but I will take Giannis over the Raptors guys anyway. So this year is going to suck. But the big ticket is 2026. Because now, on 2026, you have, if you trade Josh Giddey, you have a space for a max player. And that could be somebody like, I don't know, Jaren Jackson Jr. I'm looking at the list. You can be Kevin Durant. Now your window just shrunk. When you have Josh Giddey and Kobe White, you're still looking for the guy. You're lucky to be in the 2nd round with that team. You're hoping that Matas would take a leap, that it would catapult you. A 2nd round would be a win for that Bulls team. And then you go on from that. And hopefully you can sign a good free agent. But we all know what the Bulls' luck when it comes to free agent is. In the summer of 2010, we got Carlos Boozer. Just our luck, right? Like we wanted Carmelo. I think we signed somebody else. But if things go wrong, let's say with that core of Giddey, Kobe, they're not that attractive to big time free agents to play along with. Unlike with Giannis, if you have Giannis, stars want to play with stars. So maybe somebody like Luka. Trae Young is also a free agent. I'm not big on Trae Young at all. I'd rather not sign him at all, to be quite honest with you. But I'm sure even if they don't get a max guy, they can fill out this roster a lot better on 2026 because of the cap space that the Bulls would possess. And now you feel like a big market now, for real, because now you have a star that other players wanted to play with. That is where the team building really starts, is on 2026. But let me know in the comments, how do you feel? This is the most realistic trade package that I can come up with. And honestly, even with that, I still feel like other teams can easily beat that package. I know as a Bulls fan, we tend to overvalue our players. The last time we didn't want to trade the players, supposedly was Luol Deng for Kobe Bryant. That was a mistake, obviously, if it was true. And I don't think that was true. But when it comes to a generational player, I don't know. I feel like it's easier to build if you have a piece rather than the complementary pieces, because I think you can easily get complementary pieces along the lines when you have a piece. But let me know, how would you, maybe change the trade proposal? I want it realistic. Would you include less one of the guys? I'd rather, keep Matas. I would love to see your proposals as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.